It's day 2 of creating change, and things are off to a really intense start. As soon as we got here today, we had a meeting with Mara Kiesling, the executive director of the National Center for Transgender Equality. She informed us that there is currently a debate about whether to include asexuality in federal employee non-discrimination legislation. This is a huge deal. This is something that I didn't think we were anywhere close to being ready for. The debate is happening among the task force staff. They really want to include us. And we have right now about 48 hours to make an argument that we should be included. And so we're going to be rallying and doing that, putting together that argument as we do our sessions later today.
So it seems like the best thing for us to do is for you to go back to the apartment and get that paper and start working on the draft language for this. And I'll take the lunch group and we can go have lunch somewhere here nearby and we'll continue to talk about it as well.
Okay, awesome. We'll circle up after that.
Yeah, sounds great.
We're going to quickly put together, we're doing research, Em and I, where we're going to put together a memo that we can pass out to the task force about the ENDA. Meanwhile, Sarah Beth Brooks is back working with everyone else. Okay, so I just went back to the apartment. I talked to the law professor who's helping us with the draft, with the memo we're going to send around for ENDA, and got about halfway through drafting it. We've got a really, really solid argument. We've got to head off to the workshop really quickly. How's the preparation for the workshop going?
It's been going really fantastic. We've got a space with 80 chairs in it. We're going to see if we need more chairs. We probably will. And the panelists are all ready to go. We ran through the speeches this morning, make sure everybody knew what they were going to say, and we're looking forward to a great workshop.
Awesome, cool.
In our town, there have been kids and everybody
I came to this conference 3 years ago and there wasn't anything about asexuality. There wasn't even a mention of it in the 100-page program booklet. And I thought, where am I in the movement? Where do I exist in a queer movement that is obviously seeking intersectionality? And so this is the way that I've been creating change for the last 3 years. Very glad to have you all here today, and welcome.
Yay! So there was no community. There was no asexual community in the early 1990s when I was a teenager. And so when no attraction ever cropped up for me, I just started calling myself non-sexual at about 18.
Partly, I sometimes identify as gay because I'm exclusively attracted towards men, and I also identify as asexual sometimes. And I actually fit well within this community because there are a lot of people who identify this way, and the word we use is gray A, which means between asexual and non-asexual.
The summer before I started college, that I was just researching labels and different identities all over again, and I was on Tumblr. And I found the asexuality tag and just mentions of it. And I remembered spending that night just reading article after article and just blog posts and all these sorts of things.
For so long, the queer community was my community. It still feels like my community, even though it's necessarily different in the way.
What would you like people to know about asexuality individually?
There are times when it does get to me, and I feel very frustrated, and at times like I don't fit in, and it takes a bit to remind myself that like it is okay to feel what I'm feeling, and that like who I am and like how I feel is valid.
People were asked about human traits and how they would ascribe those to asexuals. And what came up was, I should preface this by saying this was an online survey, community sample of heterosexual people. And the words that kept coming up were inhuman and mechanized. And I think for me, that's the thing, is that, I guess kind of going back to the earlier question of what are the hurtful questions people might ask you. And one of them is, do you feel love and affection? And I think that's what I want people to know about asexuals, or a take-home thing. We're people, we connect with people and love people and have a multitude of relationships in our lives that fulfill us and that we are fulfilling to the other person. We feel deeply, we hurt, and we laugh, and we are not inhuman. There is not something inherently broken. You know, I'm very happy, and that's That's what I want people to take away.
What do you think of the panel?
I love this panel. I'm so glad that it was at Creating Change. I think it brings a richness to the queer community, and I think it's asking a lot of questions of us that we should really wrestle with and address, and I hope that we have a billion more panels next year.
We had a great Asexian Allies caucus here with cake. We discussed campus organizing, ace experience, asexuality in the media, and gender expression.
It's almost midnight, and the first draft of the memo is done. So now all we have to do is refine it, polish it, and get it out to the delegates tomorrow. So hopefully we can get asexuality included in the discussions about ENDA.